Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. Hello, my name is Trydar, and today I'm going to be showing you how to build a Roman theater in Minecraft. So let's get started. So the first thing we want to do is take a little walk around tour of our Roman theater here. Let's sit in some of the seats back here so we can see that it is a semicircular design with all the seats around here facing the main stage down there. And of course, behind the stage we have very ornamented designs of Roman columns and statues and whatnot. So let's take a closer look down here. Of course, we have a little pit down here for the orchestra to be in. And as we get a little bit closer, we can see underneath here we have, of course, laid out various projecting and recessing spaces that give us an architecturally interesting backdrop to take a look at while we sit in our seats here and enjoy perhaps a play by Euripides down there on the stage. And of course, there are some lit braziers back here as well. Now, if you will note, if you've done my Roman Colosseum tutorial, some of this will look familiar to you because I have essentially chopped out half the Colosseum and repurposed it for the seating arrangements back here. So let's land and take a little walk around that. So back here, of course, we have a little ambulatory space where we can walk around. There's an exit over there, but we also have places where we can climb up to the second tier of seats up here as well. If we want to, say, have a seat here, we can do that. And of course, there are plenty of spaces for you to get in and out of the theater here. So let's take a trip around here. We can go back down this way. Takes us to the main seats over there, and we can come over this way, which will take us out of the theater entirely. So we can take a look at the back here. So this takes us out to the side of the theater. And of course, the back here is arranged in a semicircular fashion, as you would expect. There are some trees for decorations. We have a couple of Roman soldier statues arranged on pedestals around here as well. But it's held up by a principal Corinthian colonnade. And on the top here, of course, we have some supporting arches to support the upper section of the colonnade on the top that we briefly saw. Let's take a look in here. We can actually walk around this space underneath here. And of course, these would be the extremely cheap seats where the Roman slaves and whatnot would likely be seated up there, with the plebeians in the second row, and the patricians, of course, would have all the nice seats down front. So let's go around here. We need to take a look at the front. And here it is here. As you can see, I have pretty much stuck 3 temple pediments and porticos on the front of the theater, just for sort of a set decoration, you could say. And in between those, we have the Roman eagle statues perched on Corinthian columns. 2 of those flanking on either side of the main entrance here. Of course, we've got a 6-pillared section here, and 4 flanking sections on either side over there. And you will also notice that the entablature for the temple, it sort of blends into the theater. It wraps all the way around there, and it continues around here. We have this little cutout back here to allow the placement of the eagle statues. And of course, there is a central doorway right here as well that will take you directly up to the main stage. So now that I have given you a good walk-around tour of the Roman theater, and you have chosen to build it, you will need the following list of materials down here, and then we will start the tutorial proper. So you will be needing 12,963 blocks of diorite, These are mostly for the columns and the entablatures. 18 blocks of dirt for the trees. 84,125 blocks of cobblestone. But I should say I build all my buildings solid. So if you leave a lot of these spaces hollow, you can probably get away with maybe half, but probably like 2/3 that amount. 216 spruce tree trunks. 1,886 leaves. 10,552 blocks of basalt, mostly for the flooring that we'll be taking a look at in a moment. 2,060 stone slabs. These are for the seats, by the way. That's what those are used for. 1,197 cobblestone slabs. 375 stone brick slabs. 1,120 nether brick slabs. Lots of torches. 4,776 cobblestone stairs, 4 blocks of netherrack, 2 blocks of glowstone, 26,978 stone bricks, 522 chiseled stone bricks, not lodestones, these are chiseled. I retextured this in my pack. 7,390 stone brick stairs, 114 netherrack or blackstone, 36 nether brick stairs, 141 cobblestone walls, 28 spruce fences, and 1,830 red nether bricks. And that's going to be used primarily for the roofing materials up around here and over here as well. So, with that said, let us take a look at the foundation. So the overall dimensions for this building is 133 blocks wide, 89 blocks long, back that way, and 64 blocks tall. So it's quite a big building. I think it's probably about like half of a Coliseum, if you've done that building before. But those dimensions mark out the rectangle that you need to construct for the base of the theater. Now, just to avoid some confusion, the stairs here, these measurements include these stairs, okay? Some people got confused on the Coliseum, so I want to point that out before we start. And once you have done that, you then want to start building in the following repeating pattern. So down here, I've shown you a small section of this pattern. It repeats. For this, I used andesite in my reference model build here, but only because it's a different shade. But I think if you're doing this without that, you should probably use a basalt, which will be a nice contrast, which will show up the pattern much better. But anyway, this here, as you can see, this is a repeating module pattern. It's fairly easy to do. I think if I just show it to you here, you can see how to lay it out. And over here in the corners, this is how you would start building the pattern. And then you want to expand the pattern until you get something resembling this. Now, quite a bit of this pattern here is going to be hidden underneath the semicircle of the theater, as you can see. I just copy and paste this pattern, so I just threw it underneath here and didn't worry about it. Also in the middle here, this building is symmetrical around a center line. And the center line is passing through here, by the way. So as we go, I'm going to be showing you, I'm going to focus, well, mainly on half of this. But realize if I build something like that on one side of the theater, you need to mirror it on the other side of this center line here. And of course, the center line runs all the way through the building, meaning one half of this building is a mirror image of the other half. So let me just give you a good top-down view of this entire scheme for the pattern on the foundation. And as we go, remember what you should be doing is just pause the video and replicate the block patterns that you see on your screen. Because as you can tell, there are far too many blocks in this build for me to place them all in any reasonable amount of time. So the tutorial is formatted in a way to give you the most information in a reasonable amount of time. And with that said, after the first foundation level down here, which is 1 block, the next levels will be going up in increments of 2 block slices. So each slice I show you subsequently will be 2 blocks taller than the previous slice. Okay? So with that in mind, I think let's start, right here with the bases for the soldier statues. So that is going to be what? I believe these are 7 by 7. And as you can see, they're made up of stone bricks and then cobblestone, and they're just filled in the middle here with diorite. But you can leave this hollow if you prefer. Behind it, we have the planters for the tree models, and that's made of basalt, the cobblestone walls, and some stone bricks here, and those dirt blocks I had you gather. That's where those go. And I think if I just show you this from the top down, the pattern that you've already got for the pavement should help you with the spacing of those. But either way, they're just 2 blocks away from the middle block here on that there. These other ones are going to be a little bit more complicated. For these, we need to trace around the arc of the stairway here. And I'm going to do my best to place the wool directly on top of the stairs as we go along. So from this point down here, this is where we started, way over there, that block of wool. Behind that, we're placing 2 flights of stairs. And this one from here down to here, this is going to be 31 blocks, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then 4, then 3, 3 again, a third 3, then 2, 2, and 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, lots of ones, 1 again, and here we have come to the 45-degree diagonal. By the way, in this building, I will make reference to this at some point as we go through here, but you can see that there is a diagonal that stretches from the center of the build, and if we draw that out here, like so, you will find that diagonal will interface with this cornermost block over here. So you can use this as you're building this as a line of survey or a line of control to make sure that you are getting everything in the correct positions. Let's keep counting. So 1, 1, 1, and then 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, and 3, a third 3, and then 4, and then 5, and then quite a bit of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm going to stop here because this 10th block, right here, this 10th block, this will be our center line that is going through the theater. So let me just go and give you a good top-down view of everything we've done. I've traced out the blocks for the stairs, so you know the count of that. So you want to carefully lay down your stairs, and behind that you pretty much just want to fill in a straight foundation of cobblestone behind that, because as you can see, the rest of the theater is about to be sitting on top of it. All right. So let's take a look at the positions of these planters. This is going to be quite a long phase because we have a lot of measuring to do. But once we get past this one, we should be able to make much quicker progress. Now, for this point here, I think this was the second 3 over here. This is where you want to place another planter. I think you can see if you counted that out there. And over here, you can see the position of the next planter. Of course, these trees are just ornamental, by the way. So these planters, you can leave them out if you don't even want them. And This right here, this one sits on the 45-degree diagonal that I pointed out, by the way. And this planter here sits in a mirror position to that one over there. And such is the same for this one, because this also sits in a second 3 that we counted out over here. So let me just give you a good top-down view. We'll start from the center line. And you need to start placing the foundations for the columns that we will be building, all those mini Corinthian columns. And you can build them like this. You can leave them hollow if you want to save some basalt for yourself. Because as you can see behind this, I did not spare the expense of the basalt. But you can probably leave that with more cobble if you want to. As we go, to save some of your bill on the basalt materials. I don't know if it'll matter too much. You could probably take, what, two or so thousand off of that? Let's see. Let me give you a good top-down view of let's do the outer ring of columns. And remember the red wool counting I just did. You can see the arc of that as I go along here, and this will help you with positioning these columns. And of course, one of the columns lies directly on the 45-degree diagonal, so that will serve as a check to you as we go along here, along with the planters and everything, to make sure that you get the columns in the correct positions. As you see along here. And once we get over here, they start being regularly spaced. And the intercolumnation distance of these is going to be, in general, 3 blocks. Like 3 blocks there, 3 here, 3 here, and then we turn the corner and then 3 again, and so on and so forth for those 4 columns. And then we're going to be building another statue base with some tree planters on either side of that. And then more columns with a spacing of 3. And then along here at the front, this is where our center line is coming through the front of the theater, which means all that over there is a mirror of everything I just did over here. So let's talk about the inner ring of columns, column bases that is. And let's start here at the front. So now behind our first column here, of course, we have a spacing of 3 here, but we also have a spacing of 3 back here as well. So that will help you sight this important column here, because this is a corner column. Well, actually, it's attached to a wall, so that means we call this a pilaster, by the way. And once we build this here, we then want to start building in these walls back here. This is a space, it's a 3-block wide space for a hallway, which you saw that I walked through one of these when we were doing the tour. It's that one over there. And then behind that, we want to place a bit more basalt, but as I said, these blocks back here, you can begin to leave this hollow if you want to save some on your bill of materials. But from this section here, this was what, 6 blocks? Well, 7, counting that one there. We now need to start building another arc. And to get the positions of that right, let me show you from the top down here, from this corner column that we placed. From the base of that, start building in the walls. Back here behind that, this is what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 blocks, then back 1 block, spacing of 3 blocks, and then build the wall here. And this was what, another 7 blocks. And then we want to build 5 blocks, and then 4, then 3, 2, 2, 2 again, and then 2 here, and then do a diagonal of 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 1, 1, 2, And this over here, this is another column base, so it kind of got melded together with the wall here and the entrance corridor. So let me just show that to you, because as you can see, our 45-degree diagonal is coming through this hallway here, which means this is like a quadrant of that. Well, I guess an eighth of that circle. So once we build the hallway here, let me just continue tracing this with some wool and build that back through there and build this here again. We can start with 2, then 1, and then 2, and then what? 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, another 2, 3, 4, 5, and then probably what, another 7 to get to this point right here, which is, this is of course the center line is coming through this section here, and just build the back of the basalt walls behind this here. So I'll show you all this that we've done so far from the top down. I've done all the block counts for you so you can get the arcs exactly right. And as you can see in front of these, we're placing more bases for the pilasters that are attached to the back of the interior of the building. Here's the diagonal corridor. And over the top here. And along here as we go. Now, some of you will notice that the intercollimation distance that I said of 3 blocks, that in general holds true for like this point here, and this point here, and this point here. But as you can see, the column starts sliding back. So that is that's a general rule to use. But over here, it's kind of harder to see. There's sort of another gap of 3, but over here it's sort of it ends up being a diagonal 3 when we hit the diagonal there. And in general, once you build those 3 blocks back from the first one, you build the second one. So let me just connect some of these along here so you can see how that pattern works out. It works out fairly regularly along the corners here. But when we get to the semicircular portion, that kind of breaks down, because in order to get the spacing right, there ends up being 1 less column than on the interior ring than is on the outside ring. And you can see that here because we have 2 columns bases flanking the entranceway here. But out front, we have just 1 column base here on the diagonal. All right, so I think that is the arc fairly well described. Let's talk about, I need to trace out the corridor here. Like so, and we've got some cobble walls and some stairs here. By the look of it, I don't think I quite finished this in the reference model. This should probably be basalt there, and also along here as well, where I did the red wool for that. In fact, you should probably push this back like that to make it a little bit more neat. And you can also mirror the side indentations here, by the way. It's like every 2 blocks. I made one of those for the corridor. I kind of mangled that a bit when I was doing that. I completely forgot. But it is only a side entrance, so you will barely notice. So on the front here, we have the big long wall here at the back, and you can see all of the pilasters being attached to it with the basalt. And this pretty much goes straight from the corner all the way over here to our center line. Is right here. Here is our center line. And on either side of that, we want to start building out the access way, the door that I showed you to go up to the stage from the front of the building, like so. So let me just give you a big top-down view of this entire phase of everything we've got so far. I know this was quite a lot of counting and everything, but getting the foundation correct is very important. And I think that this will give you enough detail for you to be able to reconstruct it. And we also need to take a look here at the pattern. There's a small pattern for the orchestra pit down here that I described as well. And of course, this is a bit of the repeating pattern from the exterior. And I'm not going to go over the positioning of that exactly because I think it's best viewed on this next phase over here. So let us actually go on to the next phase. I believe we have time to cover a couple of more phases, but I think I'm budgeting around 3 parts for this building because it is rather large and complicated, and the Colosseum took 3 parts, so this one probably take 3 as well. So for the bases for the Sildur statues, as you can see here, we got stone brick stairs and then diorite on top of that, and you can leave this hollow back here to save some materials if you choose. And of course, all the way around there, here is a view of what you're doing with those spruce tree trunks I had you collect. And these are going to be serving as the basis for, of course, the ornamental trees inside the planters. You know all the positions for the planters already, so I don't have to remark on those. But let's go over here and take a look at the bases for the Corinthian columns. So on top of all the basalt that you put in, you need to put on top of that cobblestone on every single one of them. And then on top of that, you are putting on the stone brick stairs and then some stone bricks here in the middle for the bases of those. And the pilasters that are attached to the wall back here are exactly the same. There's a small change with the wall back here, though. You are putting on stone brick stairs and then stone bricks on top of that as a layer, pretty much a layer through the entire theater. But you can begin, you can probably save even more materials if you leave some of this back here hollow as well. But as I've said, I spare no expense in my building, so everything is solid. And also, these here, these are both stone bricks in my texture pack, by the way. It just randomizes this to give it a better pattern. This is not cobblestone. These are all stone bricks. So there's no confusion on that. And as you can see, in between the 3-block pilasters, you are putting the stone bricks. In general, there is a bit of a gap here, by the way, which you may have noticed. I'm not sure I pointed that out in the last phase. So for these 4 columns here, these are all 3-block intercolumnations. But when you get to this one over here, this one becomes a 4. And then we go back to a 3. And then a 4 again. And then a 3. And 3 again. And should be another 3 over here over the doorway. We'll talk about in a moment. But because of the shape of the semicircle, I had to space out the columns here in the middle to have a 4 and then a 3 and then a 4 and then back to 3. And you can see here you're doing the base of this statue for the eagle statue with the column. And tree planters on either side of that, just like we did that one over there that I already covered. And I think it might even be a little bit larger. Was it 7 blocks? Yes, okay, never mind. It's the same size, 7 by 7. And now that I've covered, well, let's cover the doorway. So over here we have our center line. Again, running through the building, and here are the details of the doorway. We are putting a sort of a door frame of basalt, and then behind that is just cobble stairs, and this will take you up to the main stage, which I will cover the stage last. I want to sort of work my way in to the building. So let's start back over here at the corner. And over here for the semicircle, on top of the basalt that you built back here, you want to place a layer of cobble and then a layer of stone bricks on top of that, as you see done here. And you want to follow the same exact block count that you see that I did previously. You want to follow that all the way around, laying down your cobble first, and then your stone bricks, till you get to the center line over here again. And let me just give you a view of the design of this here. Of course, you can change up the design for these interior passageways to suit your own taste. I just thought this was a good place to hide some lighting, so that's why I made these little niches. Of course, we have some stone brick stairs, some cobble stone stairs done there. And I think you can see from the block counts just how far back those are, but I will outline it anyway, like so. And over here, this is following the diagonal. Remember, the 45-degree diagonal is going through here. And we're doing that with just full blocks and half slabs to sort of replicate some diagonal stairs. All right, now we need to trace out the interior arc of the orchestra pit. And I think we can do that if we come over here and use this point, because this is going to be flush with the back wall here. So from this point here, we have our center line there, going back 3 blocks, and then 4 blocks, and then we're turning a 90-degree angle. And we're going for quite a few. We're going for 24 blocks, I believe. And then we are turning the corner and going for 17 blocks. And then we are turning a corner again for 2 blocks, and then corner here for 2 more blocks, and then 1, then 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 3, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And of course, going through here, and this is where our center line goes through that there. So that will give you the arc of the orchestra pit. And this will also help you define the pattern down here. Now you can see in the middle, the pattern mirrors itself. Remember, I said everything on this side of the center line, a bit like that, gets mirrored like this on the other side of it. Well, here you can see a clear example of that in the pattern of the orchestra pit here. So don't let that throw you. And behind that, you're just doing cobble down here and then stone bricks. And then in front of that, you are putting in stone brick stairs. And for 2 flights of that, and then you are doing the mirroring and repeating pattern to make the main stage, as you see done here. So let me just give you a good long look at this from the top down, so you can see all of the block counts and the placements that I've done to help you site the stage. All right, and once you have done that, you will be relieved to know that this is the last of the pattern you will need to do for the main stage to get everything there appropriately sited. And I think that that reasonably covers this phase with everything I can think to say about it. So let's go over here to a next phase, because as you can see, we've got quite a few phases to go. 2 blocks at a time, as I said, we are going up. So all the columns you want to go around and put upside down, then right side up cobblestone stairs, arranged in this pattern here, with whatever infill you want to have behind those. And of course, you want to do that for every single column and every single pilaster, all the way around the building here. So you have your work cut out for you on that. Over here, let's go back here and take a look at this one. This is identical to the one at the front. This is very easy. 2 more layers of diorite on top of this one, straight up. 5 by 5 blocks, I believe. And back here we have the bases of the trees. I will replace these with wool individually, so you can see the pattern that we have for that. Because of my bushy leaf texture here, it might be a little difficult to see what's going on with that. But every single tree that I have around here, these are all copied and pasted of a master tree design. So one of these will be the same as all of the other ones. And you already know where to put them because of the planters that we've already placed. Now for the building itself, you want to go 2 blocks cobblestone on top of the stone bricks that we did over there on the last phase. Cobblestone 2 blocks high all the way around the building, as you see done here. And you can, as I said, leave a lot of this hollow if you so choose, to save yourself some of the massive cobblestone bill. Let's take a look at one of the entranceways. So as you can see here, we have a 5 by 5 by 5 entranceway here, ringed out in basalt. And of course we have sort of some cobblestone arches on top of these to sort of support the weight that's going through here. You know, it's as good an arch as we can make at this scale anyway. Of course we have some torches hidden for lighting in these little alcoves. And behind here we have stairs and everything. And this is going to begin the interior passageways, which I suppose I'm going to have to trace all of those out for you as well. Where should we start with that? Let's start at the inside and work our way out. We also have the stage back here to talk about. Let's do that first, actually. So we have the entranceway that we've been building to the main stage, as you can see, done like so. And we are building smaller columns out front. We have these large columns, these 2 by 2, but we're doing some singular block columns back here. And as you can see, of course, we have again columns and pilasters, the freestanding columns and the attached pilasters to the walls. And as you can tell, the intercolumnation distance of these is going to be 3 blocks. But for the bases, it's in general going to be 1 block. So these are going to be fairly easy for you to place. So let me just show you these from the top down. And in the middle here, where we have these fire pots with the netherrack, that's where you're using the 4 blocks of netherrack I had you collect. For these here, and some stone walls, and upside down stairs here for the braziers. And you want to place all of those like so. And once you get to the corner here, we are beginning the sections where we are doing the lowest levels of the seating. But before we do that, you want to place a railing of diorite right on top of the orchestra pit, all the way around here. And that should complete that, by the way. But from this column here, let's take a measurement. Let's go over here and go 4 blocks and then turn. And now with basalt, we're going on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then 4 blocks, turning a corner for 1, then 2, then 2. And then what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that should get you back here to that section back there. And as I've said, you should probably knock this out and square this entire section off like that there. And then we want to come back here. We want to skip 3 blocks and then start building here. And then go back 2 and 2 and 1 there. I'll come back to the passageway in a minute. Then 1 here, 1 for a total of 2. And then 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then 1, then 2, and then 2 again. And then we're turning the corner and going 2, 2. Then a long run of diagonals until we get to 2 more on the other end over here. So this represents a section of support for the seating, but we're also building out the passageways underneath the seating as we go along. So let's go back over here. And I think start from here and go 4 blocks of air gap of there. And then 2, 2, and then 2 again. And then 3, and then what? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 blocks. And our center line, you're well familiar with our center line by now. It's going directly through this part here. Now let's turn the corner. We want to go what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then just a straight run until we get to the other section of this on the other side. So there's how the center section will look there. All right, now we need to trace out the interior passageways for the outer ring. Now from this point here, which you should already have, which we've been building from the beginning, we want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then bits of basalt here because these are going to be doorways that are going to go up to the second tier of seats. Right here with these 2 cobblestone stairs there. And then from here, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1. Then more basalt, then a diagonal of open gap of 3. Then more basalt, and 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, and more basalt here. For another section there. This over here, that's another copy of what we just did over there. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And of course over here, this is our center line coming through the building there. So let me just give you a good top-down view of everything we've just done there. So this will give you the foundation counts for all the passageways. To land here and give you a little view of this passageway here. We've got some lower portions of arches that we're starting here with the overhanging cobblestone. And I think that is actually all the important things that there are to cover on this phase. And let's see, according to my timer, I think I can fit another phase into part 1. I want to get as far as I can. So we'll start over here. So more diorite on these things over here, 2 blocks farther up. The trees, again, I'll just do the 2-block pattern for this here at this level, since I already did it on the other one. So you can see how that is arranged there. Of course, all the trees are the same. Over here for the columns, you are now placing the lowest part of the diorite column drums, 2 blocks tall. Remember all those, well, it's out of range now, but all those columns that we saw at the beginning, you're building the diorite portions of the column drums, and those will extend up for, I forget, however many blocks. Behind here, we have the back walls. We did this part again with the cobble, but now you're putting in a layer of stone bricks and then a layer of cobble. And this is going to be kind of a rule as we go through the building. For every 1 layer of stone bricks that we build, we're going to be building 2 layers of cobblestone. And this is done not only for decoration, but because it was also a building technique that the Romans themselves would use. Or sometimes they'd also use a herringbone, but we can't, it's too small of a detail for us to get in Minecraft, sadly. But let's take a look at the entranceway over here. So I think we built the lintel of this doorway. And on top of that, you're putting in some upside down stairs and then some slabs here. And we're going to make a little triangular pediment over the doorway here. That's where we're going with that. And let me give you a view of the exterior walls here. These are all just going straight up, right on top of the basalt that we built the first time around. Of course, we have an attempt at a diagonal pediment here with some stairs and slabs. And like so. Of course, we have another one of these over the main doorway here. And give you a view of this underneath. In fact, I think there should probably be there should be half slabs underneath there. Looks like a small detail I forgot to fix. Now I traced out in the last phase all of the dimensions of these interior passageways with the cobble. So on top of that, you're putting in, of course, a layer of stone bricks and then a layer of cobble for all of your interior passageways. And where we put the 1 block of basalt here, on either side of the stairs, you are extending those up, like you see done here, for all of those sections. Now for the interior columns, these are all very easy. You're just putting on diorite, exactly as you're doing on the outside. You want to do here on the inside for the decoration for the stage at the back here. Of course, there's a small detail of a really small triangular pediment thing over the doorway back here. And I was wrong about the orchestra thing. So on top of the diorite, you want to put a layer of half slabs, cobblestone half slabs, all the way around the arc of that, and that will finish off the railing down here. And as we're going through this, as you can see, I've hidden torches at various places for lighting, but if you're doing this in survival, I imagine you will need many, many more torches than this to prevent spawns. So do what you can on that front. But even if you don't, I mean, the entire thing is made out of stone, so it's not like one creeper will ruin your day. Let's take a look at the seating arrangements over here. And these are best described by letting you just look at them. Because the texture that I think I stole this from the lodestones, actually. For my smooth stone slabs that you can see, they're all high contrast. So you can very clearly see all of the block counts and placements and numbering for those at just a glance here from me giving you a good long look at them as we go through here. And this is how I'm going to explain to you how to do the seating. And the center section over here. And of course we have our center line is running through this section here. So everything on the other side is a mirror of what you just did over here. take a look at this should now be completed back here for the most part. I forgot a couple of blocks and a couple of places in this corridor. If I had seen this before I started the tutorial, I would have gone back and fixed it, but it's too late now. We will have to live with it. Now let us also take a good bird's eye view of the entire thing from the top down. Take a good view at half of it here. And then now the entire thing here. Alas, parting is such sweet sorrow. I'm afraid that's all the time we're going to have for part 1 here. Remember, all the phases and everything I'm showing you here today are available for download in the video description in case you need to come here and take a look at any of the sections of the build for yourself in case the verbal instruction along with the video is insufficient to help you reconstruct the theater. And we will pick up here next time in part 2. So I want to thank you very, very much for watching. And remember, if there are any problems, that the fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves.